FORA.tv. The world is thinking.
Over the past several years, we have allowed our friends in Europe, Britain, France, and Germany, whom we call the EU3, to negotiate with Iran, to attempt to see if there's a package of incentives, or carrots as we call them at the State Department, that would induce Iran to give up nuclear weapons. And I can tell you, after nearly 4 years of activity, there's almost no carrot I can conceive of that the Europeans haven't tried to offer Iran, to give this government in Tehran the prospect of a new relationship with the United States. And with the exception of a couple of brief periods, the Iranians have consistently rebuffed the European efforts, saying that they had a right to this nuclear technology and they intended to pursue it. The Iranians have continued to ignore these efforts at negotiation. They have failed to comply with multiple resolutions of the IAEA Board of Governors, including one by an overwhelming majority about a year and a half ago, calling on them to suspend their uranium enrichment activity. That program was then referred to the Security Council, but whereby a nearly unanimous vote, the Security Council ordered Iran to suspend its uranium enrichment activity, an order which the Iranians ignored, resulting in 2 sanctions resolutions, much weaker than they should have been, I'm sorry to say, but with additional 60-day deadlines for Iran to suspend its uranium enrichment. 2 more resolutions that Iran ignored. So with respect to Iran, we can ask the same question we ask of North Korea. Do you believe that Iran will voluntarily give up its pursuit of nuclear weapons? The Europeans have believed that, and for nearly 5 years they've tried to negotiate with Iran. And the practical answer that Iran has given is take a hike. And that's because in Iran's view of its place in the world, nuclear weapons are a trump card for it as well. Iran is under the current government is aggressively pursuing a substantial increase in its authority in its region and beyond. It supplies weapons and financial assistance to radical groups inside Iraq. It's gone so far now as to begin supplying the Taliban in Afghanistan, once its sworn enemy, with weapons to attack the United States. Iran finances Hezbollah, the Shiite militia group in Lebanon, to the tune of around $100 million a year, perhaps more. Iran finances Hamas, which is now in control on the Gaza Strip, even though Hamas is essentially a Sunni Islamic party and the Iranians are Shiites. Secretary Rice has called Iran the world's central banker of terrorism. So if you look at this pattern of behavior, of support for terrorism, pursuit of nuclear weapons, this is the mark of a government that knows the direction it's moving. And indeed, its current president, Ahmadinejad, has said very clearly what some of his objectives are. He's called for Israel to be wiped off the map. You know, you look back in history and you wonder sometimes when somebody gives you a signal what they're about to do and you ignore it, what does it take to look at people and say, you know, sometimes people actually say what they mean. When Hitler wrote Mein Kampf, people said, well, this is lunacy, this isn't going to happen. When he marched into the Rhineland in 1936, Britain and France weren't willing to do anything about it. They weren't willing to use force to push the German military back, just as today Britain and France and Germany are not willing to contemplate the use of force in Iran. In fact, this nearly 5 years of diplomacy, unsuccessful diplomacy, failed diplomacy, has put us in a very difficult position. As in the case of North Korea, our options are now limited. I think the only secure route to preventing Iran from getting nuclear weapons is to change the regime in Tehran. And this has been our historical experience as well. At a period when regimes undergo fundamental change, we have been able to induce some of them to give up the pursuit of nuclear weapons. When the apartheid regime fell in South Africa and a truly democratic government took over, that new government decided it would give up the pursuit of nuclear weapons. When the Soviet Union collapsed, new governments in Ukraine, Kazakhstan, and Belarus returned Soviet nuclear weapons to the Russian Federation. And it's possible that a new government in Tehran would also conclude that they were better off not pursuing nuclear weapons rather than continuing to do so. I think regime change in Iran is feasible. There's enormous dissatisfaction in the country. Since 1979, the Islamic Revolution has grossly mismanaged the economy, and there's evidence of enormous economic dissatisfaction. The young people of Iran are educated and knowledgeable, and they can see that there's a different kind of life that they could lead, free of the harsh Sharia rule of the current government. And there's a substantial ethnic dissatisfaction in Iran as well. So that the possibility of regime change, I think, is real. But regime change is difficult, it's complex, it could take a long time, and as Iran drives toward the day when it does have its own nuclear weapons capability, time is becoming very short. And that's why, as a last resort, and in a very unattractive fashion, the use of military force has to be an option for us as well. Would not involve the kind of ground forces that are engaged in Iraq today. It could be done, I think, by breaking the nuclear fuel cycle at several critical points via airstrikes. I don't recommend this alternative. I don't look forward to it. It is at best a last resort. But if the question is, do you prefer to have an Iran with nuclear weapons or to use military force to stop it, then I think it becomes an option that we have to consider, because the Iran that we see today is increasing its influence, increasing its power, and so far there's no indication that it's prepared to slow down.